So today's interview is with one of the toughest guys to ever play the game. We are with Mel Angelstad, or as they used to call him, Mad Mel Angelstad, or the Mangler. Mel had a 20-year career that expanded over 5 countries, 15 different leagues, and 23 teams overall. Mel scored 37 goals and recorded 93 assists in his 751-game career with the Nashville Knights, Thunder Bay Thunderhawks, Thunder Bay Senators, Prince Edward Island Senators, New Jersey Rock and Rollers, Phoenix Roadrunners, Thunder Bay Thundercats, Fort Worth Brahmas, Las Vegas Thunder, Orlando Solar Bears, Michigan K-Wings, Manitoba Moose, Portland Pirates, Motor City Mechanics, Adelaide Avalanche, Bentley Generals, and last but not least, the Washington Capitals of the NHL. I want to welcome you, Mel, to my YouTube channel, Enjoy the Grind with Jace Boman, where I interview hockey players and get a chance to hear great stories and see where their past led them. For all of you watching, please hit the subscribe button and like the video. So Mel, looking up your stats, you racked up some serious numbers, dude. Your penalty minutes were through the roof, and you had something like 5,400 penalty minutes over your entire career. Wow. So you were basically the definition of an enforcer then, hey?
That's what they used to call me, yeah. I was an enforcer back then, for sure.
So, alright, so we're going to jump right into the questions. Looking back to your younger hockey days, when did you start playing the enforcer role?
Well, first, Jace, thanks for having me on and doing this interview. I appreciate it. What happened with me is when I started the enforcer role I was pretty young. I was still in my teens, and I actually was a bit of a boxer type of thing before I started hockey, and that's what got me into hockey. That there was a role back then in hockey for a guy that could be important by using his fists and taking that component of the game. It's not that necessary anymore, but back then every team needed it, because if you didn't have it, you were a step behind. So I taught myself to prepare for that role, and I had a lot of help with a lot of different guys studying and training to complete it.
How old were you when you first started getting noticed by scouts or teams and invited to camps?
Well, with me, I started late, so I didn't start playing hockey until after high school. So obviously, I think the first year that I played junior hockey, I was 18 years old. So obviously, I didn't get drafted, or I wasn't any kind of a young talent like we're seeing with the World Juniors and that right now. So I started late, and then I progressed my way up into pro.
When did you realize you could make a career playing hockey?
I think for me, it was really difficult. Being in the minors is really difficult. Playing in the NHL, obviously, is difficult for the talent, but for your life and your lifestyle, and not a lot of finances and traveling, every day you're wondering if this is your career or it isn't your career, because you get traded, you get dealt, you get cut. It's a very difficult life in minor hockey, and I'm not saying that's in a negative way. I'm just saying you don't just like now I'm a firefighter, and it's easy to know. Okay, I have a career as a firefighter, and I have a pension, and I have a job that's 9 to 5 every day that I know I'm going to show up for. Hockey's a lot different. It's I never looked at it till I was done, and I looked back on it and I said, wow, that was an unbelievable, crazy 20 years that taught me a lot of life lessons. So when I was going through it, I wanted to be in the NHL and be in a career. And if I was in the NHL, I would have been saying I had a career. It's just I felt very nervous I was always going to be cut or lose my job.
Did you try out for Ottawa Senators?
I did. I was actually with the Ottawa Senators their inaugural season in 1991. That was their first year that they came back as an expansion team, and I got to go to camp down there, and that was where I met John Ferguson, the late John Ferguson, and he was a guy that actually helped me a lot to start down in the minors and that, and what to do, and kind of let me work on my role as an enforcer.
Out of the teams you played for, what team did you enjoy playing on the most and why?
Well, I mean, I'd like to tell you, it was my games in the NHL and stuff like that, but really I liked my year. I liked my years in Thunder Bay. We had championship teams, and I had really good friends there, and I was just, really just learning the craft, and that's where I developed as a player. But I guess my favorite year was when I started to make it, and I was in Orlando, and that was the old International Hockey League. And that was when I started to actually be getting paid well and start to think that it's a career. And, it helped that it was a plus 30 out every day. There was no winters, and I'd go to hockey practice in shorts and flip-flops.
What team did you play on that had the most exciting fans?
Most exciting fans? Well, just for me personally, was in Thunder Bay. We sold out the arena every game. We won championships. They would chant my name. I mean, things like that you look back on and you remember that you're really proud of those kind of accomplishments. Other arenas would be more people and louder, but, they're not chanting your name, and they're just there for a game because in Detroit, I think the biggest population I played in front of at one game was 21,000, I believe they had at the Palace. So it was really cool to see a crowd that large, for sure.
You lived in a lot of different places. Do you have a favorite city that you like to live in?
I think just out of all the cities that I got to see and do, Orlando I really liked. They have Disney there, SeaWorld. Down in Tampa is Busch Gardens. It was always nice and warm. I'd go surfing out in the ocean after practice. It was like an hour and a half drive to the ocean. It was pretty cool for me to experience that, just being from Saskatchewan and in the snow all the time.
Do you still follow any of your old teams?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Caps fan, so they gave me my games, and I love the Caps. And now that I'm living here in Fort McMurray, I follow the Oilers as well. And I went to camp with the Oilers before, too, back in the old Rexall Center.
Yes. You played in 2 games of the NHL with the Washington Capitals towards the end of your career. That must have been a dream come true. Can you walk us through getting the call up to the Caps?
Well, it's quite a process, actually. I was old, and the Capitals made a big deal with Pittsburgh, and they traded for a bunch of draft picks when they traded away Jagger. So for the time that I was there, the years that I was in the farm team in the American League, I looked after all those first rounders. I protected them. I gave them room on the ice to succeed so they could go on playing in the NHL, and give them a lot of room, because the minors is tough and it's violent, and it's you have to protect those guys. You need someone to protect them, and I did that job to the best of my abilities, and George McPhee recognized that, and I think just for my respect of what I did, he looked out for me and he got me a couple games in the NHL to play, and I still talk with George McPhee. We're still close, and whenever I go down to Vegas, I make sure I go and see him, and I've always respected him for doing that for me.
Who did you sit beside in the dressing room?
Who did I sit beside? When I was there, let me see, I think I sat beside... Who did I sit beside? Nord. Yeah, I don't know who I sat beside. I was living in a daydream while I was out there for those couple games, I'll tell you right now. Ole Kolzig. How about that? I was sitting beside Ole.
Yes. You were the first guy to ever wear number 69 in the NHL. What did all the guys in the dressing room say when you threw on your jersey and it had number 69 on it?
Well, I can tell you, number 69 wasn't a number that is like I picked or anything like that. When you go to camp, you're listed in numbers, and if you're not like Jaromir Jagr, he'd wear 68. But if you were better players, you'd be a lower number. Meaning, like, they're going to keep 25, 30 guys at camp throughout camp for the last cuts. So that'd be the top 30 numbers. So you can see my number was 69. It was very high. I didn't have much chance of making that team when I was in camp. And when I got my games, they just gave me the number that I was wearing when I had it in camp, which was 69. It turned out to be really cool for me because I was the first player to ever wear it in a regular season game. So now it goes in the record books that I was, the first player to wear 69. I know Andrew wore 69 for San Jose after, and I don't think they allow anybody else now, actually. I think Bettman made a rule on it or something. But however, as quirky as it is for me to get 2 games to get in the record books, I'll take it. It's pretty cool. I look at it now.
I've seen you in some crazy scraps on YouTube. Who was the toughest guy you ever fought?
The toughest guy that I ever fought for me personally, you guys probably wouldn't know him, but his name's Kyle Friedrich. And him and I used to fight all the time, and every time I fought him, he would knock me out. He's a big man. He's 6'8", 270 pounds, 275 pounds. So he's a really big guy, and he was really hard to get to. You couldn't reach him, He was out of reach. So, and he always got to me. So I had trouble with him. But, I mean, as far as the toughest hockey player I ever fought was obviously Bob Probert. Just because, he's the toughest hockey player hockey's ever seen.
What did you say to Bob Probert to get him to go?
It's really funny because Hitchcock told me that I got the green light to play. So we were going to play Chicago, and Chicago had a lot of tough guys coming in. I think they had like 10 legitimate fighters in the lineup. And Sabert and I had a tough camp. Him and I were fighting a lot in camp, and he was out. So I was in, and I was the only guy in the lineup that's being a enforcer against all these guys. So Hitchcock called me in for a meeting, said, "You got the green light to go." And he actually wanted me to fight a kid named Nathan Parrott. And Parrott and I had a history of fighting in the minors a lot before. He is also a firefighter now, too. I respect him. Great guy. But I was like, man, I fight this guy in the minors all the time. It would be nice to test some of these heavyweights in the show, and I knew Proby was there. And funny enough, we went on, and I got the call to go on. The coach Hitch saw Parrott go on the ice, so they called me to go on the ice. I went on, and the puck got rimmed around, and old 24 came rolling over boards. And, I was going to go and do my task and fight Nathan Parrott. But Proby turned around, and he came straight at me. And I was really surprised, actually. He came at me, and he dropped his gloves, and he was like a big grizzly bear coming at you, It was really cool at the time. I was pretty excited about it. But the coach wasn't too excited, so I ended up fighting Reed Simpson and Parrott after, but that was how it ended up that Probert and I ended up fighting.
Well, was fighting Probert one of the highlights of your career?
It definitely was, yeah. Probert was like someone that you as a tough guy, you look to. Not for things that he did off or away from the ice, but for things that he did in his role. His role is a very difficult role, mentally, physically, and he did it every night. And he did it the best. All of those guys are much respected, but Probert was at the top of the pile, and so I always looked up to that aspect of him.
Who do you think the best enforcer to ever play the game was?
Probert. hands down.
What was your go-to saying to get guys to fight you on the ice?
You know, it's not really like you have a go-to saying. It's more like what's happening. You know, that's the thing that people don't understand. It's just not a bunch of guys running around there calling each other out for a fight. If someone does something to one of my guys, he knows there's a retaliation's coming. You know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you ran our goalie, well, you know I'm coming over the boards the next time you're on the ice. If you stick one of my goal scorers in the wrist and he has a sore wrist so he can't score, well, I'm coming over the boards and you're gonna pay the price. And it's just respect. Guys, you know, if they breach the respect, then it's gonna happen. And if it doesn't, I would tell the guy, hey, you gotta do your job here. You gotta do your job. And that usually gets the guys. So I guess, oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. It's okay.
No, I'm good. It's enough.
Is there a guy that you knew every time you played that team that you were going to fight him?
Yeah, there's a few guys like that. Especially in the minors, there's guys like that that just want to fight all the time. There's a lot of guys that don't have rhyme or reason to why they're fighting. But the guy that would fight me every time, 3 times a game, non-stop, was Gary Kupel. Now, you're not going to know these names because these are guys in the minors, but they're this guy just loved to fight. And he was suspended from every league everywhere. Didn't really understand the whole process, but if you're going to fight, you know, I'm the guy to fight. It's better than him chasing around guys that got to score and stuff. So sometimes the job sucks, and you got to stand up against guys like that.
Was there ever a guy that kept you running over your skilled guys, but would never fight you?
Yeah, there's guys like that, for sure. I mean, that's basically, there's a lot of it in the NHL now. Not just the minors. The NHL is full of that now. Obviously, I think there's room for the tough guy in hockey and the fighter. You know, the biggest growing sport right now is the UFC. Everybody knows Conor McGregor, and those guys are fighting and knocking each other out every night. There's maybe a knockout in a fight once once or twice a year. There's a knockout. So people do get hurt. I'm not saying they don't, but I think when you sign on to big money and a big contract and big things, there's always risk in it. And that's the beauty of sport. There's risk in it. In football, any sport, you can break your leg and be out at any time. So they took away a lot of jobs for guys like me that gave me the life that I have, and you know, be able to teach yourself that hard work pays off and that dreams can come true. And a guy like me can go and play in the NHL if you work hard. So I would never speak down towards something like that.
Who taught you how to fight?
Who taught me how to fight? I guess I'd say it's an Angelstad tradition. Our family is everybody could fight at any time. And we might fight each other at a Christmas family gathering, so it's just how it is. Fighting for us is a form of communication.
I seen you on the movie Goon, Last of the Enforcers. How did you get on that movie?
Well, the first movie Goon that came out, it had a lot of things in common with my life. Not how it was portrayed as such a stupid character, but a lot of the other things were very similar. And with 69, starting hockey late, how he fought, so I talked to Jay Baruchel, who was a director and a producer, and he was also financed the movie. And I just told him about, you know, how close it was to what my life was like, and that I'm a fighter, and you know, I was a hockey fighter forever. I think that I could offer you some advice in what direction to take with that movie, or have a partner. He's like, I don't need any direction from you, but I'll give you a part in it. I was like, fair enough, let's go. So I went in and filmed a movie for a couple of weeks with those guys, and it was fun. I found out I don't want to be a movie star because it really is boring days of scene after scene and cut after cut and blood pellets in your mouth and makeup on your face and then how you line up to punch someone in the face or, I was like, Colton Orr and I and George LaRocque at one point were like, let's just fight each other and they could film it. They didn't go for that though.
Who did you square off with in the movie?
I fought Glack. So that's Sean Scott, the main character, Glatt. So we fought in this battle of the beasts scene, like where there was 5 fights happening at once, which really drifts away from hockey. It was just kind of a movie scene. But I fought him, and then I fought a couple other guys after. Like I said, I was there for 2 weeks, and we were doing a lot of takes and a lot of different fights and a lot of different ideas, and that's where I learned the term, it can get edited on the cutting room floor. So a lot of the filming got left and edited out. For 2 weeks, for 12 to 14 hours a day, we're doing stuff on the ice and doing all this filming, and you end up and you have 30 seconds on a movie. It was kind of crazy.
Okay, so a few fun questions for you. If you could steal any player's skill, what would it be and from who?
Any player's skill?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's easy. Gretzky's vision. His vision. That guy could pass. He'd see the play 4 plays ahead. He could see 4 plays ahead what was going to happen, and he could be there. And he could move the puck there. It was all vision. Because he didn't have a hard shot. He didn't have great dekes. He didn't have fast or very good skating skills at all. But he had vision. He saw everything. It was like he read the future. It's arguably the best talent you could have.
What was your favorite hockey team growing up? And do you have a favorite hockey memory of that team?
When I was growing up, my dad, he was a big Flames fan. So I watched the Flames every Saturday night. And a big moment in that was when Lanny McDonald won the Cup. I think that was in '89. And to see an old guy like that raise the Cup, and after all that years of playing and his big mustache that he had, it was pretty cool. I remember that.
Do you have a favorite NHL player?
I have a few favorite NHL players. So obviously it's Gretzky because he's the greatest, and he's the king of the game. I really like Ovechkin a lot. I think that his shot is just amazing in what he does, and he's strong, and he's big like a bull, and he can hit you, and he can score, and he's never injured. And he's never whining. He's always very disciplined. I really like him, and that last was just growing up for me for a role for myself was Probert. I like Probert. I didn't like what he did off the ice, but I sure did like what he did on the ice.
If you could compare your game to someone in the NHL, who would it be?
Well, there's no one now. So, but back in the day, I would say my game was like Stu Grimson. I would say, obviously, if I played 1,000 games and I only got 37 goals, I wasn't lighting up the goals too much. So, Stu Grimson was really tough, and he's smart. He's a lawyer now. He knew when to fight and why. And if it was time to snap, he was going to snap. And that bought him a lot of room. And his players, they won a lot of games from what he did. So I respect a lot what Stu Grimson did, and I think I played my game a lot the same as Stu Grimson, although I wasn't 6'6".
What was the biggest goal you ever scored?
Oh, I know that goal. So we were in the semifinals in the minors, and the game went to overtime and then a shootout, and I got put in the shootout. and I scored a goal in a shootout to win the game. And that was pretty cool. For a guy that doesn't score many goals, I got put in a shootout and scored a goal because I had this one stupid move at practice that I was doing all the time. I just do the same thing. And I was scoring on our top goalies, and they were draft picks for Ottawa. And I kept scoring, and the coach was like, you know what, go try that move. I went out, I tried it, and I scored, and I won. And we won a playoff game because of it. Like, it's pretty crazy for me to get that opportunity and to score. It was quite clutch, I thought.
Nice. Do you have a favorite hockey brand, Bauer, Warrior, CCM, like that sorts?
Yeah. Like, so I wore CCM skates forever. I wear True skates now. Just True or custom fit, and they're probably a little bit slower, but I don't care because I just play men's hockey, and so I can just glide around. But they're comfy on my feet. But I wore CCM, and I also have always used a Sherwood stick. So since the 80s, I've used a Sherwood stick, all of them, all the way through. From the 50-30 featherweight wooden stick to the 99-50s, all the way up to the graphite sticks that we use now. And they still ship me my pattern, and I still get sticks with my curve now, so it's pretty cool.
Nice. For me, I'm like all CCM. Like I have the new FT3 CCM helmet, CCM skates, shoulder pad. No, I don't have the shoulder pads. I have those, like the pants, and I have like almost everything CCM besides my elbow pads and my shoulder pads.
Awesome. CCM is a really good brand. Yeah. And I think CCM just started coming out with sticks, like, I want to say like around 2000 or something like that, because I don't think they had sticks like back when I was like in the 90s. They started like, if I remember right, it was in the American League, and they started to try and get contracts in and CCM sticks in. And I think that was around 2001. But it's cool. I like that you use CCM.
Yeah, it's a really good brand. What's your favorite pregame meal?
My favorite pregame meal is chicken and pasta. So I usually get some spaghetti, grill up some chicken, put it on top of it, put a bunch of pasta sauce on it, get some vegetables on the side, slice of bread or two with some butter. And I'm pretty sure the kids don't eat that now in the NHL. I don't know what they're probably on diets and everything, but back in the day, that was what we did. That was my favorite. I loved it too.
Do you have a favorite pump-up or warm-up song?
I wouldn't say I had a favorite one. The boys are always really good with music every year. So from year to year, there would be some classic songs that you would play. Like AC/DC, Thunderstruck, or Bon Jovi, I don't know, some things like that. But for the most part, you're just playing the music that's kind of cool and what everyone's listening to right now. And guys would make playlists of that. I think that was basically how we'd warm up most of the time. And usually it's a rookie we'd make run the jukebox and have he's got to run the music list and come up with the music every day for us. If we don't like it, then we chirp him.
Who was the best player you ever played with?
Well, I got to play with Gretzky for a week, so I would say that it was probably him, but we were just practicing. I was in Phoenix with the Roadrunners at the time, and LA was in town doing exhibition games, and they sent all their rookies out for a weekend swing. I never went. I stayed back behind with the team in Phoenix, and we practiced for a week. So it was like Gretzky, Yari Curry, Marty McSorley, a bunch of guys like Crowder that stayed behind.
Who is the best player you ever played against?
Best player I played against? I would suppose it would be when I was in camp with Yager, playing against Yager. Yags was unbelievable. Big, strong. You don't think so, but he's really strong. He could hold you up with one hand and just take the puck with his other hand and come around and shoot it with one hand. Like, he did some crazy stuff. It was really cool.
Didn't he do like 1,000 squats a day?
He did everything. Guy's amazing. He's still playing right now. He's the same age as me. I turned 50 right away. And I think he got a goal and an assist like last week. And he owns a team over in Czechoslovakia, I think. But that's still a pro league that he's playing in, and he's still getting points. So he's amazing.
How did you end up going across the pond to play in Belfast?
Well, what happens when you get late in your career is you start looking at, okay, well, what am I going to do? I knew I had to go to school, and I had to finish that before I could move on to a career. I had to finish my school. I had taken some university classes and business classes at Lakehead University and University of Saskatchewan. I knew I had to close that up, but before I was going to close that up, I wanted to go and play hockey somewhere where I wasn't trying to make a career of it, where I was like, I'm going to go and see the world, I'm going to get paid some money, and I know it's not going anywhere, but it's an opportunity for me to, you know, go and see Europe and travel through the world and just see how other countries play hockey, play the game, and so I talked to my agent about it, and he gave me a few options, and I talked to a few different cities in a few different countries, and Belfast worked out to be something that was pretty cool place, and they have a big arena with 17,000 people every night, and they're singing and chanting, and it's really different atmosphere over there. They're banging drums, and it was really neat. They gave me I had a little sports car and a penthouse suite downtown. It was a pretty cool way to go and see the world. So that was the opportunity I took to do that.
Do you have a favorite hockey memory that stands out to you?
Well, I won 2 championships, so it's in the minors again, so it's not the Stanley Cup, but winning a championship is really a special time because you're with your best friends at the time, and you have a common goal, and you have to really work really hard for it, and you have to train all year, your whole life. You're listening to the coaches. The plays got to run perfect. You have to be able to accept a loss and then get back up on your feet and play again and battle. Maybe you're hurt, maybe you're sore, maybe you're tired, but so are they, and you got to keep pushing yourself. And then to win it all and get to hold the cup in the air, things like that are really, really special if you're a part of it. And it's really, really special and hard to describe to people that don't have that opportunity. So things like that, and the rings that I have now I can wear that I don't ever wear them, but I keep them at safe, are really something I am proud of. But I don't ever talk about it or show it off. But it's those I'm proud of, and then obviously to get games in the NHL, and that's selfish more than anything. But I got the games in the NHL, I got in the record book in the NHL, and I'm proud of that. But I know I got it just because of the respect of the things that I did in the minors. So it wasn't like I was an NHL player.
What was your time like playing with Adelaide Avalanche of the AIHL in Australia?
Well, that was after I played a couple years over in the UK. And then I met some friends over there and a couple owners of some teams over there. Obviously I was hanging out with, and we were working on a couple of things for some of the businesses that he had over there, and he ended up buying a team in Australia. So I went to school, and I got my education that I needed to be a firefighter and a paramedic. And as soon as I graduated, valedictorian by the way, I decided that I was going to go and get a job in the fire department. And my buddy called me and he says, I just bought a team in Australia and I want you to come and help be a player coach and help this team figure out how practices are, how to get together to win some games, to just get a scheduling. It was the first season of this team, and I was like, "There's no way, man! I'm gonna go back. I'm working now." And they're like, "Come on, I'll get you a house on the beach and a sports car and this and that." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll go out." So I went out there for I think I was there for 7 months, and we lost in the finals, if you can believe it, that year, which was amazing. It was really cool because it was just a beginner team, and we made it to the finals. I think we played in Sydney or some city just off the coast there, but and that was fun. And I flew from Sydney, Australia, well, out of Adelaide, Australia, to Thompson, Manitoba for my first firefighting job because one of my teachers at school had called me and was like, "Look, your certification's going to start running out. You need to get to work and stop with this hockey stuff." And I was like, "All right, give me a couple of weeks. The finals are next weekend, and I'll be there." And they got me a job in Thompson. I flew up north and started my firefighting career.
Do they like hockey over there in Australia?
It's picking up. It's picking up. It's really new. It's really new. Very new. They don't have facilities like we do. It's not a national sport like ours, at all. But the people that like it, they love it, and there is a following there. And I think the first on our team, we had a kid named Greg Audie, and he was at the time the best player in Australia. And unbelievable, very nice kid. Got to know his family and him, and he was captain of our team. Now, I think the Washington Capitals had a player from Australia, and he was the first guy to play in the NHL. So it looks to me like it's a country that's growing, and the sport's quite new there, but it's picking up.
Do you miss playing competitive hockey?
Every day. Everybody does. Hockey's fun.
It is. And do you have any advice that you could give myself or any other young players for their hockey career?
Jace, I think the biggest advice I can tell you is that, don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's a lot of work. And especially nowadays, I think a lot of people are scared of work. It's a lot of effort. You don't always win. Things don't always go your way. You don't always get in a power play. You're not always ready to go and want to go on the ice, or you don't always want to go to the gym and want to run and lift weights and jump around and do your plyometrics. But the days that you do, you'll look back on and say, I did that even today, and I didn't want to, but I did it. And that will just keep you pushing. And what it'll teach you is that hard work pays off. It's the hard work that pays off. Hard work beats talent every single time. And when you get that, you get a self-respect for yourself, and you can be proud of the accomplishments that you have, and it snowballs, and then you keep succeeding, and you keep succeeding, and your life turns better and better, and it starts with hard work, and you're disciplined towards it, to be coachable, to listen more than talk, especially when your coaches are talking or people are taking time to teach you to listen to what they have to say. So those little things like that, they go a long way. The kids that are talking when the coach is talking, they never turn out. That'd be my advice.
My dad tells me you're now a fighter. How did you get into that, and what is it like? I got into firefighting when my grade 1 yearbook said, "What career are you going to have?" They always do that in school yearbooks, and mine was a firefighter. It was something I always wanted to do. I think that it really is an easy transition for a hockey player. Being a hockey player, you have to be a part of a team. You have to be physically fit. You have a common goal, whether it's scoring a goal or putting out a fire. It's very similar. You have a lot of work that you have to do together as a team to collaborate and accomplish a goal. So it's an easy transition, and I like the part of having a team, being with the boys, and working towards something, whether it's putting out a fire, or helping someone medically, helping people. It's a big reason that I got into the medical side of it was for me to, obviously I dealt out a lot of violence over the years due to my role with people in the same caliber, but still, it's nice to be able to give back, and it creates balance. I went to school for it, and I suggest any hockey players that firefighting is an excellent career, and it's a very rewarding. So I want to thank you very much for taking your time and joining me on Enjoy the Grind. This is awesome to hear your old-time hockey stories. I wish you all the best in your life after hockey as a firefighter. Thanks again, Mel.
Yes.
And for those watching, please hit subscribe and like the video, or I'm going to send the Mangler after you.